Ojo Aba Meta Meta, third Saturday in October, 29th in Seawall, Galveston, Texas. Galveston, formerly known as Turtle Island, was a marketplace block for selling human cargo during the transatlantic slave trade. That cargo was many of our ancestors who never chose to be enslaved. We must not let this truth of history be revised, and there were others of our ancestors who were already here, drying their eyes from trails of tears. Fourth Saturday in autumn equinox, Libra season, third decan, harvest season. The season where Onile, or the spirit of Mother Earth, thins the veil between Orun, heaven, and earth. Aye. The collective voice of our ancestors amplify their presence, hence All Hallows Eve, Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, and Sankofa, the caravan to the ancestors. These celebrations all fall like leaves off a tree during this season. Sankofa. It means to go back. It means to go back to give thanks and praises to the Creator, regardless of the name in which we call him her. To remember our ancestors, the ones we know not by name, and their ultimate sacrifice. We go back to remember our recent ancestors and the wisdom their lives left behind. We go back to reflect on where we've been, to be clearer on where we are headed. And this is my personal diary of the last decade of experiences while attending the Sankofa Caravan to the Ancestors, hosted by the Houston chapter of the National Black United Front, and how these experiences changed my life. I'm my Aunt J. Muse, and you are watching and listening to Sankofa Mewa, the Diary of 10 Caravans. Ashe. Sankofa's Eve 2022. The Whispered Symphony. Pataki. Oni mi ojo eti. Owara melen le logun. Odunik bahawa mechi le logun. Merin le logun awan ojo igba oru. Diary. Today is Friday, October 14th, 2022, 16 days into autumn equinox. The day vibrated on a 3, a day of Eshu's crossroad. The moon was waning in Gemini, one of his main signs. 2022, one big-ass Soyeku. Not to mention a phenomenal year to be a woman. The principles of major shift and contraction are real. The divine feminine force is in full throttle, Ibashe to the mothers. I just celebrated my 5th year as a Yalosha on Tuesday, and 222.9, the mothership, is in its 2nd year of orbit on the airwaves. Last weekend, I was a featured performing poet at the Speakeasy Comedy Lounge at Phil and Derek's. I am filled with gratitude, and life is good. Mbuff was doing the most this year to celebrate 25 years of Sankofa Caravan to the Ancestors, and you know what? I was there for it all. Let me tell you about it. See, this is the year that I was the most involved with helping facilitate some of the behind-the-scenes work and making the events possible. I was given the privilege of rendering voice talent for the promos of all 3 pre-caravan events. 222.9, the mothership, featured an interview about the history of Sankofa with Mbuff's national chair, Kofi Taharka. I felt so great rendering my skills to what was now a holiday to me. I even gained a new name to our nation. Long story. On the 1st of October, The pre-caravan event, the first one, was hosted on a boat. MBuff hosted a day party on this party boat, right? One of 4 events in celebration of the Sankofa caravan to the ancestors' 25th anniversary. It was so much fun, complete with white and silver attire, light bites, adult drinks, and lots of dancing. I made sure I sang to Yemanja, thanking her for letting us have a party in her house, especially when I saw those solarite stones in one of her daughter and priestess's eyes. I poured some liquor to the sea for the ancestors, too. We must remember, they're everywhere. The second was a youth day and a buy-black marketplace at the MBuff house, but I was unable to attend that one, though, because I was already booked for the speakeasy. And that leads to tonight, pre-caravan event number 3. It was Sankofa's Eve, and tonight I was given the honor and privilege of sharing yet another original poetry performance, but this was no speakeasy, more of a speak deep. The occasion? Moore's Sankofa Caravan to the Ancestors' 25th year festivities, and the Houston chapter of the National Black United Front was hosting a panel discussion featuring Mama Charlotte Hill O'Neill, known to the Orisha world as Iya or Shotunde Fashuyi, and Professor James Small. This would be the second time I would perform for a Professor James Small discussion, kind of like an opening act. The first was at the Shrine of the Black Madonna in 2020, and the other, tonight, was at the historic Deluxe Theater in Houston's Greater Fifth Ward. The topic was how we as a people can make African spirituality a practical part of our everyday lives. The night was moderated by Alicia Miles and Equality, fellow Prairie View alum and poetic mentor. I was brought there via lift ride by a young prince named Tevin, so the energy was already building on the way there. The vibe and energy was high upon arrival. I love seeing our people move in our royal regality. The attire for the night was black and silver, and interestingly, there was a black and white dog hanging around outside, greeting some of the folks, trying to get in the building. Even tried to sniff up my skirt, nasty puppy. But anyways, last time I saw a black and white dog around caravan festivities was in 2018, but I still acknowledged Olgun's messenger and made my way inside. I brought along a plant of dark maroon velvet leaves that was sacred to Oya, the Orisha mother of the ancestors. It was to be used for libations from a copper cup. The ritual itself was performed by Oluwo Baba Ifalade. She'd have it no other way. Oya, I mean. When I went to greet Mama C, I felt like a shy child the closer I came to her. And even though the power of her aura was strong, she was warm, she was welcoming, down to earth, and kind. She started up the dancing as the drummers were getting into their groove, and a few other women joined us, and it was on. We grouped a little bit before the panel began, and it helped me to relax. The whole energy of the room shifted when Baba James Small made his entrance, but all y'all children tend to do that. By the time he entered, the room was filling up quickly. The whole thing was live streamed, and I must admit, I was a bit nervous. After libations by Baba Ifalade and opening remarks from Brother Kofi Taharka, I took the podium and performed a poetic ode to the ancestors titled The Dance of the Whispered Symphony. Listen. Surrender, surrender. Surrender to the rhythms and rhapsody, and this dance, this dance, this dance of the whispered symphony. Dance in spiraling circles, our multicolored toes in sand, Step and groove in divine purpose, heads bowed, joined hand in hand. Listen. Listen as the ocean sings her wind songs and crashing waves, and let Oya's croon carry the tune of messages received, then relayed. Hush, hush. Experience the massive hush. Feel the rush when the silence amplifies their back thens. It sings a silent song of their blood on the wind. Ajalae ajalorun, they modulate from deep within. We are their soundtrack of Olodomare's opus, so dance to their whispered symphony and trust the conductor. Free yourself of the lies, all the while that this is hocus pocus, 'cause who composed this never-ending song and both blessing and destruction? Open, open, open to divine instruction. Remember 400 plus years of Jesus-named boats. The real saviors crucified for me, they died sacrilegiously afloat atop Oshun's of Yemoja's tears and Olokun's deep wealth of hope for those who are already here. Close your eyes, see them so clear. Their voices will you hear, them paving our path through sick blankets and trails of tears. And those who jumped to him, choosing transition over a holocaust they saw so clear. Our annihilated masses are dead and gone? Hardly. They're the Egungun, the power of the bones, our army, just waiting for you to call them, 'cause the globe is tipping, begging our and their pardon. So pour whiskey to the ground and break out the cigars and dance. Dance. Dance to the rhythm of their whispered symphony. Remember the rhythm of chain-ridden ankles, cuffs and fishnets to replace sacred bangles, manifesting you through the collars that strangled, the unspeakable pain through faith, ever aware of divine angles, from geniuses enslaved to unmarked graves, from the recently dearly departed to those you know not by name. Dance in the knowing we can never repay all they gave, and it won't be in vain. They endured all, but their spirits detained, so we stand proud today, reincarnated DNA, so dance in the knowing that through us they are saved. So encore between realms, whether church, mosque, or elay, and the dance of their whispered symphony. In this moment our beliefs may differ, so let's let our eyelids flutter, then flicker in praise to the same Jehovah Jireh, Allah, Olodumare, and feel the mojo of our collective energies raised, forming our eternal band. Let's dance to their whispered symphony. Our multicolored toes in sand. I answer J Muse, full moon in Pisces, an ode to our ancestors. Ashe. The poem was received well, but there was an interruption in my performance, though. A man in the crowd began reciting the Lord's Prayer right in the middle of my poem. I surrendered my ego and paused my speaking until he was escorted out. I wasn't offended, as I took it to mean that the energy of the poetry piece just happened to touch him in that way. When you're speaking of egos or ancestors, you never know what's going to come out of the ether. 2 red thrones awaited Iyamamasi and Baba James Small's center stage. The discussion was stimulating, thought-provoking, and a few of the points made I had to jot down for further meditation and practical application. I recall gazing at the two of them in all of their wisdom and thinking, I got a long way to go, but I'm so blessed to have come as far as I did. I felt gratitude to them for walking this road before I did and leaving their footprints for me to follow. When I returned home, I packed my bag for the main event to come in the dawn. Stones, spikes, fans, a bath towel. What did Spirit tell me to pack that for? Okay, I just listened. Ibasheori, bath towel in the bag. Irukere, grandma's machete. Food for the birds, eggplant, molasses, and my never leave home without a conjure box. I then forged a crown of discs and mirrors, a creative way to rock the silver and white, in homage to the 25th anniversary of the ancestors, while paying homage to the ancestors of music. I made it to bed around 5 a.m. Once again, I kept the tradition of no sleep the night before Caravan alive and well. Happy Sankofa's Eve. Ashe.